Chapter 3 Sorceresses. This world is full of mystery, fraught with danger and adversity. Some thrive in it, but most just suffer. The common folk are those who are usually dealt the short end of the stick in this dog-eat-dog reality. Of course, there's also the opposite end, where the rich and powerful dwell. But even among them, there are exceptional individuals, those who stand out in a crowd, not because of the jewels they wear or the crown resting on their heads. I'm talking about mages, sorcerers, and especially the sorceresses. Ever since Jan Becker first tamed magic 500 years ago, these individuals have been gaining power and influence, carving out a niche for themselves. Humans didn't master the arcane instantly. It took years, and much of it was gained from the elven mages at Loch Muin, where the first sources, child prodigies, and natural conduits for magic were taught its secrets. With power came strife and rivalry. Priests, druids, and even kings felt threatened by the rising power of the sorcerers. Rather than risk hostility, they negotiated, created a compromise. The Novigrad Union was the result, a treaty that established the separation of magic and state and formalized the principles of non-aggression between magic users and the rest of the world. Who knows? Maybe they even respected the treaty for a few years after their signatures dried on the parchment. It definitely didn't stop the mages. Not by a long shot. They have snaked their way into the good graces of kings and nobles. You could hardly come into court and not notice a man or a woman standing on the sidelines, observing, taking notes. They were everywhere power could be had, but some wanted more. Perhaps it's this greed that motivated Vilgefortz and his cronies to betray the northern kingdoms of Tanid during the largest meeting of magic wielders of our time. His betrayal destroyed the community of magic users in the north and the trust that existed between them and the rulers. It came just as Nilfgaard crossed the Yaruga River, beginning the Second Northern War. The sorceresses rose from the ashes, salvaging what they could, and succeed they did. Just look at Redania, its leadership decapitated with the assassination of their king. Felipa Elhart and the Spymaster brought it to heel with blood and magic, a sign of things to come. Rumor has it that the surviving sorceresses formed a secret lodge to control the empire and the kingdoms, guiding them both to peace and prosperity, while latching themselves firmly on to the structures of power. They say they orchestrated the battle at Brenna, where Nordlings and Imperials bled each other so much the grass grew crimson in the coming years. Of course, they also say that the Emperor used to be a giant hedgehog, so make of it what you will. What I know is that the sorceresses came out of the war with their heads held high, rather than feet forward, more beautiful, more powerful, and prouder than ever. They weren't always that beautiful or that influential, of course. I know for a fact that Yennefer of Vengerberg, the stunning dame with raven hair and scorching fire in her heart, was once a hunchback. If you ever meet her, look into those eyes, and you can sometimes see an abused, envious cripple looking back at you. Impossible, you say? Hard, but not impossible. Mages opted for the old, mature look, but the sorceresses knew that to maintain the brand, you had to look the part. The girls that went into the School of Magic, no matter how average-looking they were or what defects they had, came out stunning. They could be a hunchback, have a hair lip, buck tooth, flat feet. The elder sorceresses would fix them up with magic, straighten out the bones, shrink the teeth, realign the faces, remake the back. It's the same magic that returns eyesight, restores scorched skin, brings people back from the brink of death. It can't save those too far gone, as a certain sorceress learned during the Battle of Sodden in the First War, when a spell ripped off all her limbs. You would be wise to remember that the power these beautiful women use, the power they think they tamed, is a primal force that gives and then takes away. The Empire learned that the hard way at Sodden, even though they had their own mages, brought to heel by the Emperor of Nilfgaard. The Nordlings too learned it when Kedwin invaded Edirn a few years back, and a sorceress named Sabrina Glevisid annihilated the armies of both kingdoms, allegedly on the orders from the Lodge. We cannot ask her if this is true. The King of Kedwin burned her at the stake. I think, my friends, this describes life in the Northern Kingdoms well. A balancing act on the edge of a pit of vipers. But that is a story for another day.